Hi there.
Halo, Mbak Jeng, can you hear
Can you
me?
hear us clearly?
Yes, I can hear you quite clear. Can
Okay, okay, that's perfect. We're trying to set up everything right now, so how are you?
it's quite good. We have yeah, okay, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah. So there's still like 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are still south here.
Yeah.
Mm.
So when do you want to come
So
to
we're like,
Padang?
yeah, still masih belum jam 9 ternyata.
Yeah, it's almost
Okay
3
then.
p.m. in
I'll see
Padang.
you in a few minutes.
Okay, it's okay.
Not here. So, let's turn it around. Okay.
Halo, Mbak Jeng. Halo.
Hi, yeah. Can you hear us clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I want to ask you some things.
Mhm.
Is it okay if I share the invitation Zoom for
Uh-huh.
the other lecturer in geography?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, this is a personal matter. Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Deepo. Hi.
Hello?
Yeah, alrighty. So now we can start with your presentation, and I think it would be best if you introduce yourself first to us.
Okay. It's okay if we start now?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, thank you, Miss Hajeng. Hello, everybody. Uh, it's quite morning in German, right?
Quite morning.
So I hope you will enjoy some of my lecture about the Indonesia, especially in West Sumatra, and other interests about physical geography, and maybe we will talk about something um, also about environmental in Southeast Asia. Um, Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Dipo. I'm one of the lecturer from the University of Negeri Padang. Um, this is our second years that we join collaboration with the um, Cologne University, especially in geography department. In this in this year 2005 in 2025, Miss Ajeng and Professor Brown, maybe we will visit again in Padang, of course. But right now we talk about something different that I want to introduce to all of you because I see this is a new student, right, Mas Ajeng?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is a different.
From last year.
Yes, of course, it's totally different from the before the student before. So, if you want to ask anything in this maybe 1 hour, next 1 hour, please ask about anything. If I have the answer, I will answer right now. If not, maybe you can ask again if you want to in I don't know in September or October you we will go to Padang.
in September.
In September. Okay. Um, that's the introduction of this lecture. So right now we'll share the material, and also we'll give this PDF also via email to Miss Ajeng. If you want to share it, it's quite possible. Okay, is everyone can see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome again, or what we call it, maybe welcoming soon again to West Sumatra, especially to Padang, of course, because maybe we will stay in Padang and some city also in Bukit Tinggi, I think. But in this lecture, we will talk about something really, really general about the geography, physical geography, and then the social and also environmental geography, of course. And we will talk about biodiversity also, and then we'll resume what will you see in Padang in September, I think. Okay, this is me. So I'm still quite young. I'm 33 years old this year. Especially my interest in geoscience is not in geography, of course, especially, but I'm more interested about the physical geography, and especially in the modeling and then so some survey, field survey. So this is my office right now. I'm part of the Geography Department. This is a quite old department in Universitas Negeri Padang. It start in 1968. It's coming from the geography education. Right now we have two department and we have four laboratory and then two professor and 15 doctorate, and then about 20 magister and then postdoctoral. Okay, this is our themes that we want to talk this morning. It's talk about the physical geography and then the occurrence of the natural hazard and then the challenge of the environmental, especially in Indonesia in general and then in West Sumatra in specific area. Because sometimes it quite different because it's different from the what you call the terrain and then the landscape of the in Indonesia because oh yes, this is our outline. We will divide this presentation into five category. The first one we talk about the physical geography, of course, and then we talk about the, as you know it, the Pacific Ring of Fire is the reason, and then the the uh, the the product of the physical geography uh, that's happened in Indonesia from forming earthquake and then tsunami and also volcanism. And then we talk about climate and then the influence of the sea level change in near coastline because many major city in Indonesia is come from the near shore area. And also we will talk about the what you call it forestry industry and then the struggle and the challenge of the conservation of the environment, especially in two category. Uh, Not only two, of course, but mostly in Southeast Asia is two category is the palm oil and then also the mangrove. So we talk first about physical geography. Uh, as you know it, Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago. It have 17,000 island. We have the big one, the small one, and sometimes we have a new one, the newest island, I think, that's forming right now, especially if you talk about the volcanism and then the volcanic island that happen that occur in the sea of the Indonesia. That's because we have Indonesia is located in between two of the oceanic, the biggest one. We have the Pacific Ocean and then the Indian Ocean, uh, and also we have two major continents that bridge through the Indonesia from Asia and then from the Australia, of course. That's make Indonesia is very diverse in physical and also influence also in human geography and also the social and economic. The one is the what you call the reason behind it. Also, we will talk about the tectonic and then the volcanic activity that forming the island, the major island in Indonesia. We have the biggest island, and I don't think so. I think the second best island in the world. Yeah, Borneo Island, and then we have Sumatra, Jawa, Sulawesi, Celebes, and then the Papua. It's forming from the 130 of the volcanic volcanoes that bridging of one over them that make is the biggest island that we call it the forming ridge of the volcanic mountain. One of them is located in Sumatra Barat, in West Sumatra. That in 2024, the last year excursion from the colon can see the volcanic eruption live in Bukit Tinggi area from Merapi Mountain. And of course, we have the seismic activity, and thank God from the our last year excursion, we didn't experience the seismic activity because in Indonesia we have several big one, the big earthquake hit. The biggest one and then the famous one is in 2004 that hit the Aceh province and kill around 200,000 people, uh, and also forming tsunami hazard. This is the what you call it, the resume that we talk about the natural hazard in Indonesia. This is the most natural hazard that occur in Indonesia, from the flood and then landslide and also from the earthquake, volcano eruption and everything. We conclude about everything in Indonesia have is quite high number of the disaster, of course. Um, in 2023, it's reported about around 3 million people affected through the natural hazard. But most of the natural hazard is coming from not the biggest one that we talk about, the tsunami, earthquake, and then everything that physical geography, but mostly coming from the flood and then extreme weather because in the next topic we will talk about this kind of the hazard. We have also quite high number of the disaster, yeah, and natural hazard that occur in Indonesia. It's very challenging. So it's the geography department, that geography or geoscience that need to talk about the mitigation and then the what you call rehabilitation of this hazard is really necessary. So we're back again. We talk about the tectonic and then volcanic. It's coming from this uh, interaction of the two major continent from the Eurasia and then Australia, the forming that have subducted and then imbricated, making a mountain range, making a very big basinal area, and then forming a new sea and a new mountain, and everything is coming from this quiet interaction of this continent, of course. And also, it's not the major one. We have also the small one, not the biggest one, but this make very very interesting geodiversity in Indonesia. This is our place, Indonesia, the end of the edge of the Eurasian plate that hit by the Indian and Oceanic plate from the Indo-Australia plate. It's forming quite many islands. Yeah? It's not only from the what you call it the forming of the Himalayan mountain or the forming of the Andes mountain. We have also several mountain also, but most of it is coming from this event, this subducted and that implicated in everything in the between. So this is maybe the summary of the tectonic element. We have the subduction zone in the southern part of the sorry. We have the subduction zone that coming from the Indian Ocean, coming from the south to the north, that forming many volcanic mountain, and not also making volcanic. They also forming some basinal area, or the what you call it the uh, plain or uh, uh, what should basinal plain in the northern part, and that forming some of the biggest river. One of them that the most the the most big river that have in Sumatra is we call it Batanghari and Kapuas. Maybe we will see some of them in September, of course. And then we have also have some active tectonic like the San Andreas Fault Zone. We have what we call it the Great Sumatran Fault Zone, and not also in Sumatra. We have one in the Sulawesi, and then we have the biggest one in the Papua, and we call it Sorong Fault. All of them forming the tectonic event and the tectonic product of the tectonic. This is the distribution of the volcanic in Indonesia. We have the dormant one, we have the active one, we have the right now I think the most active volcano in Indonesia that occurs in the is Nusa Tenggara. It's what you call it mountain or Gunung Lokatobi Laki-Laki. And then in this past year in 2023, one of the active volcanic also occurred in West Sumatra that we call it Merapi volcano eruption, and it also gives some also what you call it make some disaster, especially if in Merapi is the product of the volcanic ash that mixed with the water and then is uh, hit with the big or the high rain, the hot rain, and will give the what you call it lahar. And lahar hits some people, and then it really devastating in that occurred in 2023 in West Sumatra. Also, the activity of earthquake. They we have also the I think the most active activity beside the Japan, and then in West Sumatra is quite high mitigation of the earthquake because we have been hit in 2009. We have the big one in hit in West Sumatra, and it killed about around 2,000 and 5,000 people. Hello, Mbak Jeng?
Yeah.
You can still See the
Yes,
scene?
we're still here. Yeah, we're just here.
Okay, and then not only we talk about the natural hazard, but Indonesia is also have some the biggest biodiversity, especially in the uh, animal kingdom, and then the forest, and then everything that talk about the biodiversity is quietly high, because we have an endemic animal such as Sumatran tiger, and then rhinoceros also, and then we have the elephant, and then the most of the quite popular one is Komodo dragon, is the located in the Nusa Tenggara or Komodo Island, and also it's not coming like the magic, of course, because it's coming from the many evolution, and then migration of the animal that coming for years through years, that can be divided in what we call it the Wallace line and the Weber lines, that divided Indonesia into three regions: the western part, the central, and then eastern part. And it gives so many, not only biodiversity, but also in geodiversity, and all talk about the tectonic diversity. That's why Indonesia can divide into three main regions: the western part, the central, and then the eastern. Uh, I don't know if is it in September. I think only going to Singapore and Padang.
Singapore, Padang, Jakarta, and then Nusantara. That's the idea.
Oh, so you go to the Borneo.
Yes.
So maybe we will talk about mostly about the western part of the Indonesia, I think. But if you want to also talk about the beauty of the eastern part, Indonesia is quite beautiful, and then also quite challenging, of course. But we will. You can ask anything about that. So this is the western part of Indonesia. Yes, we have the big trench and the big subduction zone in the southern part. That's coming from around 4 centimeter, I think, or 7 centimeter per years. Also, there we have the active strike slip fault that coming through the northern part of Sumatra, that join to the southern part, that we call it the Semangko fault zone, or the Great Sumatra fault zone. We also have the similar one in the Java, and then also in the one of the Borneo, is the what you call it the Poso fault zone, that coming through the Mangkalihat fault zone, and then one of the inactive fault. That's the because the Borneo is located quite far from the subduction zone. And that's why Borneo is not quite seismic, less seismic activity. So this is Sumatra. This is Sumatra. If you slice the Sumatra Island around 200 and 30, 200 and 250 kilometer thick, you will get this quite part. We have the subduction zone that make some the melting of the rock, that produce some the volcanic of the in Sumatra. This is the general of the section. The biggest one that hit the earthquake in Sumatra is recorded in 2004 in Aceh. Um, we hit around 350 people, and then not also in Indonesia, they also hit in Thailand, Malaysia, and then Sri Lanka, and then Madagascar also. Um, this is the picture of the I think one day after the hit impact of tsunami in Aceh. uh, but right now is we um, uh, we come through the rehabilitation part right now. Is quite improving, especially in the what you call it, early warning system in earthquake and then in tsunami. Uh, in 2023, I visit Aceh also, and it's really a good development after the tsunami hit. And then in 2009, uh, earthquake also hit in Padang area or West Sumatra and Nias, but it's not hit the tsunami and produce a tsunami flooding, but it's quite make our economic and our facility in West Sumatra is collapse, especially in because the what you call it, the government aspect is not quite good back then. We have not regulated some building and then some of the uh, mitigation part of the earthquake. But right now is we learn from our mistake in 2009 and 2004. Right now we have several uh, tsunami, what you call it, tsunami shelter. But if we talk more specifically in West Sumatra or Sumatra, it's not quite only subduction zone. We also have some what you call it a basinal area in the mountainous part of the Sumatra. One of them is what you call it basinal area. The big one is Ombilin Basin, and then right now the most recent basin and then was make produce some water or lake that we call it Sengkarak Lake. Also provide not only the water and also give us some energy through the electricity. And then we also have some basinal area, and then in the eastern part, especially in the Riau province, because uh, of that, Riau is very plain. They don't have any highest mountain or the mountainous range and ridge, but is influenced by the big rivers such as Kapuas and then also uh, Ombilin River. This is the big one, or I don't know, talk the big one. The most active fault in Sumatra is the Great Sumatran Fault Zone. So this is Padang. If you can see, this is Padang City, and it's only quite near to the fault zone. It's only, I think, only 30 kilos or 50 kilos, I think. And we also produce some lake, that the modern lake of the uh, intra mountains depression zone that coming and then coming from the tectonic activity. And Miss Laras talk and us. I think we will visit of the Singkarak Lake. I think, and
Yes.
then we will talk about the biodiversity in Singkarak. Or we talk about the economic. I don't think I don't know, but you can ask anything if you. Uh, we will see Singkarak Lake. This is the fault zone, and because it's tectonically active, it also makes some what you call disturbance in the landscape area. This is the alignment of the fault zone that happen to juxtapose in the Sianok Valley. Yes, and it's because it's moving, it will produce some energy that release that making some quite shallow earthquake. I think. and also provide the really uh, geodiversity in the West Sumatra. This is the central because the main one is the Sulawesi or Celebes. This is quite challenging also because it's coming from the small microcontinent that not subducted but abduction or abducted through one another, that making some of the also mountainous range, but not in volcanic time. It's quietly in the ophiolite and then in the metamorphic time. And because of that, they produce some of the minerals that right now I don't know is quite famous in Indonesia and in Asia especially is what we call it nickel laterite is quite of the ore mining that uh, one of the biggest one that occur in Sulawesi. But also they also have some earthquake also and then tsunami also. Is this quite new? It's hit in Poso in 2018 and 18. Uh, it's same as the in the West Sumatra because there is no great mitigation aspect that provide us before the hit happen. Uh, it's quite devastating also, and then it's quite. Right now, I think is still some rehabilitation and then some of the uh, progress of the city to make a good rehabilitation through the facility. Also, this is the quite famous one in the I think in the last month. I think that's about the one of the Brazilian climber from the uh, Brazil is quite fell from the volcanic mountain, and then they have they talk about the slowness and then the facility about the mitigation and then the mitigation of this hazard and then this disaster happen. This is quite interesting also because not only the volcanic and tectonic it give some of the natural hazard, they also give some of the what you call it some interesting point that people want to see, especially in the from the uh, that want to go hike dan do through volcano tourism. I think I don't know, but this is quite popular right now in Indonesia. Not only in the Rinjani, they also have several. The biggest one in Sumatra. They, if you want to climb the uh, Kerinci Mountain, you also provided into this really strict safety. And then this is from the eastern part. Eastern part is quite challenging also because they not only give some natural hazard like earthquake and volcanism, but it's quietly giving some of the minerals because main of the mining industry in Indonesia is coming from this island that produce the copper and then some of the gold in this Papua mountainous range. So most of it that coming from physical geography that provide Indonesia is coming to make some the what you call mountainous highland and then the coastal and then low land, and then they also have several the big river and lakes that provide not only the fresh water, they also uh, give some flooding hazard. So this is the one that maybe you will visit in September. This is Danau Singkarak. This is the basinal part of the Intra Mountains. In the northern part, you will see the big Marapi Mountain and then the Singgalang and then Tandike Mountain. That forming some the what we call it the Agam Highland. That we have some several big city in that area, Payakumbuh City, Bukit Tinggi, and then Panang Panjang. But in the southern part of the Singkarak Lake, we also have some what we call it a Solok City, also the big city in West Sumatra. Uh, that most of the economic coming from the uh, what you call it from the agroforestry and then uh, from the fishing area in this area. So this is one of the product that only uh, endemic in this lake that we call it billy fish is only occur in Singkarak Lake. But right now, Singkarak is hit some challenge in not only from the tourism aspect but also from the environmental aspect because Singkarak is the lake is quite low and most of the area is coming from the uh, forestry and then from the volcanic and also some issue about the environmental effect in the environmental disaster in the lakes of Singkara. Also, the challenging one is about the strategy from the central government that want to turn the Singkarak lake to turn into some power grid from the uh, solar power. But it's quite challenging right now because it's not quite similar that happened in Java because one of the lake in Java also has been start to convert the reservoir to to be a grid power grid to harvest the solar power. Also, we have some challenge about in the climate and ecosystem, especially in the rainforest area and then coastal, and also in the reef area or the shallow water or shallow ocean. Uh, I think the question, if you want to ask, maybe you will ask to the end of the presentation. We will continue to the uh, earthquake and the volcanism. We will talk about the technology that we have. One of them in the one of the uh, protection system from natural hazard dan that uh, happen and then that Indonesian use. So this is what we call it some general idea of the early warning system that Indonesian proposed uh, in government aspect. So not only we talk about the policy and the action plan, they also not provide only in one to has into one particular hazard because in Indonesia we have some several agencies, several government aspect that provide similar facility. Right, because we have one of them, we will provide some unique technology and also making some really unique decision. One of the biggest agency that provide the data and then the survey of the early warning system is like BMKG. This talk about the meteorological and then geophysical aspect, and also they have some of the agency that will talk that particular into the rescue and then the mitigation, the quick mitigation, BNPT, and many more. We'll talk about that. So this is the really the stakeholder of the early warning system in Indonesia. It's coming from the what you call it the agency that provide the data, the agency that coming from the through the action of the mitigation and everything, until the agency that provide the evaluation of the risk and everything in natural hazard, especially the one of the biggest, talk about the flooding, and then the volcanic, also in the volcanic eruption, and then earthquake. That's the three type that mostly that occur in Indonesia. So this is the stakeholder from the government agency that many what you call it, many support from the other agency, and then but the also provide some various data and early warning system that because so many people that using so many resources is quite make some uh, quite what you call it, some uh, quite too many people that use this data. This is the example of the data that provide from the uh, giving recommendation and everything. This is the same natural hazard that provide from several agency, but we talk the same thing but through the many platform. It quite confusing sometimes to the people, especially from the Indonesian people, because it's too many info, but sometimes it's quite useful, but sometimes it's quite not too good. Of course, we have some several technology, especially in the quiet point of the government, like such as volcanic eruption, because many big city in especially in Java is or not quite near from the volcanic area. This is the technology that most of us to use, quite the CCTV, and then the wireless CCTV, and then geophysical tool that give some data to the agency. Also in the coastal area, we have also some quite surveying tools, and then or, what do you call it, the station data that provide the wave, and then the tidal aspect of the ocean. It's quite improving right now, because in 2010, I think, we also some several sensor from the tsunami, especially in Java, West Sumatra, Aceh, and also in the Papua. uh, but it's not quite enough. It's not good enough, and not so powerful enough to mitigate and then make some early warning system in tsunami, because from 2004 until now, tsunami hit several times. One in Poso, Nias, and then from the in the Banten, West Java. Uh, uh, because it's early, and the early warning system is not good enough. So this is a challenge, because the problem that we confront in the early warning system, the one is low of the exposure data from media, of course, and then from the government attention, and also making some very low infrastructure. But uh, the the easiest one about the mitigation or early one system is about the law of knowledge and law of the training in the disaster mitigation. But we not uh, we will still survive right now, but it's quite challenging to train some mitigation through younger generation because in earthquake is not quite hit continuously, but in flooding and also in I think in volcanic eruption is quite repeated, yeah, and we can learn something about it. Uh, okay,
Sorry, Dipo,
yeah.
before we continue, I think the last two topics, like we got overwhelmed with a lot of information. So I think would it be possible if maybe I just ask the room and then see if there are questions from
Okay,
the students to
okay,
you?
okay, okay.
Okay. So questions about the first part, physical geography. I mean, we kind of covered almost maybe 60 or 70% already about the physical geography of Indonesia. Any questions that is remaining? Well, we have people here. No? Yes, please.
Yeah, in the last couple of months, there were volcanic eruption from the, I don't know, the first word, like Laki-Laki
Yeah.
and Solus. Is there any information about the warning system? Is this was successful, or if there was any challenges about it?
Mhm. Did you get the question clearly, Dipo?
I don't think so. Can you repeat it?
Okay. So it's about the Laki-Laki Mountains eruption. So in the past few months, like there have been several eruptions from the volcano. Is there any news whether the early warning system has been working or not?
Okay. Thank you. So it's coming from who?
Ah, Mr. Mario Peters is somewhere
Okay,
outside.
okay, okay. Okay. Nice to meet you, Mr. Mario. I will answer about the question about the eruption in Lower Tobi Laki-Laki because like we talk about the challenge of the mitigation or the early warning system in Indonesia is quite very very green and very challenging, especially in we talk about the what you call it disease, the lack of training in the disaster mitigation, and then the mass media and then government attention. That's the 3 point that I think the one that make the Loa to be laki-laki is not quite famous. To be honest, in the Indonesia right now, Logo to be laki-laki is quite erupts. I think uh, uh, in 1 year. I think right now, uh, but the intention of from the government is still very low because is not make some what you call it. Mm, it's not the point that government want to talk about because uh, in Nusa Tenggara Barat, in West Nusa Tenggara, uh, it's not the concern of the government because they don't have the big city in there. Uh, Too many. What we call it right now is the social and economic impact from the eruption is not quite high, and then quite not quite have some media exposed also. That's one of the reasons. But from the mitigation, from the government agency that want to provide the mitigation, I think the problem is not the question is not is it success or not, but is it quite powerful or not mitigation in that area because uh, the people that live near the Luatobi laki is not quite high from the not quite high density area, and no there is no any big city in near the mountains, so people only mitigation, or the purpose of mitigation that people use only, uh, if everything, if anything strange that happened from the mountainous area, any sound, any what you call it, any difference from activity from seismic, they already run through the down of the valley, or to the lowest part of the mountain. That's the problem that we have in area that's not quite popular and quite low government attention. It's different if we talk about the same, I don't know, not the same type of the disaster of natural hazard, but in 2004 also, uh, some of the flooding, water flooding that occurs in Jakarta hit some several area in the West Java also. It's quite really give some high tension from the government, not because the impact of the hazard, but mostly but because it's quite have some media exposure. I think that's the answer of the question. But if you want to uh, see any update in Loktobi, you can hit link uh, from the PowerPoint that I will share to you, that have some camera wireless that you can see live stream from the nearest point through the Luatobi Laki-Laki, that will give some life mitigation. But it's not quite popular in Indonesian people.
Okay, thank you, Nico. So, do you maybe have more questions? Because we will be covering about tsunami early warning systems, right? Yes. Okay. Alright. So, Dimple, unfortunately, I think we have like very few time left. Would
Okay.
it be possible for like each topic maybe 5 minutes? Because I see that you still have three major topics.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I will join only to some of the one. The material, the PowerPoint, you can share it to the student. But right now, the problem is that we call see is what we call it, the the most disaster that, or not the most, the frequent disaster that happen frequently in Indonesia is water flooding. Water flood is not quite quite popular. Not quite popular. It's because too frequently occurs in Indonesia. People trying to adapt from the natural hazard, especially in the urban city, and then some of the coastal area and the area near the coastal. Is talking about the sea level change that gives some water flood, and then the what you call it, the rob flooding. This is occur in near Indonesia, in Jambak, uh, uh, Jambak Beach in Indonesia, in Padang, near Padang. Is only quite only 5 kilometer from the university. This is the video that occurred in 2024. It's make some really quite quite enormous different from the before the landscape, and then also the mitigation of the this natural hazard that happened in the near coast. And also we will have some any industry, but this is the resume of the West Sumatra that you will see. West Sumatra is really geodiversity, and really high in the really in socio-economic is not so quite good like in Jakarta or Bandung or Bali, in also but it's quite have some potential. The problem is really much, I think, especially in natural hazard that occur in West Sumatra. Uh, the problem that we challenge in this year, I think, is about the food security. Is quite challenging right now. And then about the health, and then juga from medical and juga and natural disaster. This is the documentation from the previous one. Uh, so we quite have a long journey. I think 5 days, right? As in
Yeah, for 5 days, yeah,
4 or 5 days,
true.
there's so many places that you want to see. So my point is, if anything you want to ask is, don't say just ask. So if we don't have the answer, we'll try to find it. So this is one of the previous student that trying to climbing some mountain. So and also we have some journey to the historical site in the West Sumatra. Not only we talk about the physical, but also we talk about the environmental impact and then social impact in the geography aspect. So I think that's all. So any question left? So the material I will send to Miss Ajeng,
Yes, yes.
through the email. So uh, is it enough?
Okay, so thank you for the course.
Yes, yes. So any more question?
So guys, do you have more questions? No? Okay, so maybe I have questions.
Yes.
So we're going to visit Padang and maybe Padang, Bukit Tinggi, and Solo. That's the idea around the Lake Singkarak in September. So what should we expect in September? Like how is the weather gonna be, or anything that we need to consider when visiting West Sumatra in September?
Okay. September is a rainy season. So prepare for the rainy outfit. Especially, I think you should have some umbrella. I think, and also from the weather, and Padang, Solo, and Bukit Tinggi is quite a different city. They have some different altitude. So uh, I think it's quite chilly right now in September. I think. Uh, and then what you got? I think that's all for the weather. Also, especially if the same message that previous that from our previous excursion is, if you have anything food constraint that you didn't like, well, I'm not sure, so you can tolerate some of the food because Padang is really have spicy food. Just ask before you eat something. That's the one that I think the most important one.
Okay. Any questions? No? Or Nico, would it be possible to go back to your slide where you say about 5 topics that you would like to present?
Okay.
Those 5 topics, yeah. That's like very, very early, the beginning of the presentation. We're gonna have some students covering sea level rise today. Not mistaken, yeah? Do you have questions about sea level rise, coastal hazards, well deforestation? From Sipang, are you here? Just right. Okay. So the idea is to present something related to coastal erosion. So during your research, did you find anything that maybe until now you couldn't find the answer, you're still curious about it. You know, I don't know this. Because like here we can also ask people if you have like remain questions that you analyze in coastal hazard. No? Okay. Yes. And maybe about the Pacific Rim Fire. And some of the codes they say it's a taxon zone that the Indo-Australian plate is beneath the Eurasian plate, but it's actually the Sunda plate. And I'm not quite sure what is right or both is right. So is it part of the Eurasian plate or is it? That's the question. You know what I mean? So how to say it? They say so that when you need the Eurasian plate, but when I looked it up, it says that actually solar plate is part of the Eurasian plate. So I understood that it's just like Ireland, Indonesia with the solar plate, and the rest is the Eurasian plate. Yeah, sure, that's right. Okay. Did you hear the question before?
Okay, I think I know the meaning about the question. Let me repeat for my words once more. Uh, what is the correct one? Eurasia or the Sunda? Is it different or is the same, quite same? Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Eurasia is quite the what you call it, the big one, that roaming through the Europe, China's, and then also in the uh, mid eastern Middle Asia, mid eastern Asia. But in Sundaland is quite a newest term because uh, some of the uh, some of the geologists say it's not quite part of the Eurasia, but it's one of the part of them. It's two of the interpretation and then two evidence to support that. If you want to divide them, Eurasia and Sunda plate, you have to make some boundaries. And where's the boundary? So this is quite not new, but some newest technologies support about the plate movement through the that boundary, especially if you know about some of the big earthquake that early hit in Cambodia and then Thailand in 2025, I think. It's quite of some of the geologists say that's the boundary of them, because the boundary is through the alignment through the subduction zone, and then it will join again in the northern part of the in the eastern part of the Thailand, and then that's the divide the Eurasia and then the Sunda plate, and but and the other geologists say that it's quite forming from one plate, but they join together that forming the Eurasia. They say that they join together in the Mekong River alignment, because that's the boundary is the Tibet Highland through until to down to the south part is the Sundaland, but it's the two interpretation that support by two data that have some any reason and then any support data that support that interpretation. Um, but for me, uh, some of the indication that we have that Sundaland is quite part different. Yes, I support because if you go to the Malaysia, go to the Vietnam, it's quite really different from the rock farming. They don't have any magmatic art of the igneous rock over there. Most of them because they occur in the Indonesia and Malaysia, but not in quite far in the Tibetan highland. That's uh, my opinion. But the for the simplification, you can use Eurasian is the main part of the Sundaland, or you can divide them strictly and use that Sundaland that subducted by to the Indian or oceanic Indian Australian continent. Is up to you want to use some of the interpretation, and uh, two of them is quite have some several geological evidence. I think that's Sajing. If you want to,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, thank you. More questions? No? Okay. So, Dipo, did you say something about, I think you prepared some kind of questions for the students?
I think no,
Or,
no. I
no?
think the quiz maybe I will give if you uh, visit to West Sumatra. I think so.
Okay.
Prepare for yourself. Not the quite the is not the hard test. No, it's quite about the some experience that you want to talk and then you feel in through the our field trip. That's one I want to ask about the student.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I have a question to you, Dipo. We are relocating, or we are in the process of relocating our capital from Jakarta to Nusantara. And then Nusantara is basically on Kalimantan, and then of course it has different physical geographic features in comparison to Sumatra or Java. In your opinion, as a geologist, like, was that a very good decision to move that from a physical geographic perspective, let's say?
Okay, interesting question. From the geologist's eyes to see about the movement of the capital city from Jakarta to Nusantara in Borneo. First of it, uh, I already visit in the not professionally not not called Nusantara. It called what you call it? The one kabupaten apa namanya? In 2010, I already visit them because I do some coal exploration in that area. One, uh, it's mostly rainy, and then they have very bigger lacustrine over there. So for the natural hazard or like the flooding event that quietly possible hit the Nusantara, it's quite possible. It's quite possible, but they have some really geopolitical strength in that area. First, they have natural boundary that not quite exposed through the what you call it the from the oceanic part because they forming some really deep lacustrine. And also if you want to build some port to make economically uh, run through the Nusantara city, I think is quite possible. And of course they have several energy reserve, not only in the coal mining, but also if you talk about the natural gas, and then uh, oil, of course, they have many of them in that area. So the reason why you should pick Nusantara to be the newest capital of Indonesia. uh, my answer is not 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 geological correct, I think, but more like I think it's more about the give the other chance to build something. Right now, we choose Borneo because Java is quite very dense island. They have some natural capacity that I think will hit some limit of them in quite maybe 50 years or 100 years from now. But other island like Sumatra and then for the Borneo or Sulawesi, Celebes is quite have potential to explore, of course, but also to give them change uh, to be the what we call the most or not glamour, the most important part of the economy in Indonesia. That's my opinion, really my opinion. But if you ask about why you should pick Nusantara to be the next capital, uh, that's really many study to answer that question from the economy, from the geological, from everything. But in my eyes, is they have unique challenge. They have unique characteristic that uh, we will prepare for the future. I think that's my answer.
So, tired? No? Do you need a coffee break now? Yeah? Okay. Alrighty, so we would like to say thank you to Dipo for
Okay, thank you.
presenting. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will send the material through
Yes.
messaging, and you will
Okay.
can send to all of them. I really hope to see you in Padang in September. Please prepare your health and then your uh, what you call it your data because we should make some really good memories in Indonesia, especially if you want to visit West Sumatra because it's quite beautiful. But like wise men say, the more beautiful is, I think, the more dangerous. No. But this beautifully dangerous. But it's a quite interesting geography. You want to talk in West Sumatra is quite interesting. That's my opinion and my message for the student.
Okay, thank you again, Dipo.
Thank you, thank you.
Dipo, could you please wait just a few minutes so I can wrap up a few things?
Okay, I will. Thank you. Bye bye.
So, if you have more questions, you can always forward it to me, and then I will also forward it to Dipo if it's like related to his study, to his research. And now we're gonna have a coffee break. How long would you like?